This is Red Moon Role-Playing.
We last left our investigators with Shelby Shattuck deep involved in an interview with Erica Carlisle, the sister of the late Roger Carlisle, leader of the Carlisle expedition. Erica Carlisle had divulged in some depth the nature of the people who accompanied Roger on his expedition, and the poison that had been fed to him that made him believe in doing things like opening gates, doors, and exploring worlds that perhaps he shouldn't. She isn't fully versed in this kind of knowledge, but she did allude to a book that she started reading that frightened her. Shelby successfully charmed Erica Carlisle, a no mean feat, it must be said. And so right now she is quite taken with him, even though she is still flanked by 2 bodyguards. Rupert, Shelby's friend, is currently exploring the Carlisle library. Meanwhile, Madeline and Felix had made 2 stops. First they went to the Juju house, where they encountered Silas and Kwani and a, slightly disturbing store. May have witnessed extortion in practice before making their way to Emerson Imports, where they are now the guests of Arthur Emerson in his cramped office. As far as Madeline's concerned, Arthur Emerson seems to be expanding in we'll call it girth, as the conversation goes on. So is there anything else then? Is that business done?
I was just curious, where in Africa do you most often import from? Any particular countries?
Mombasa, mainly.
Oh.
East Coast. It's not necessarily practical. I mean, we don't have our own ships or nothing. It's...
How are you doing this? How are you doing this thing that you're doing right now? I'm doing my best not to shake in my seat, but I'm shaking in my seat.
I'm sorry, love. You mean the imports?
No, you.
Surely people like you came over here on boats just like me.
You. I can see what you're doing. I just don't understand why you're doing it or how you're doing it. What is this?
Madeline?
You don't see it? He's expanding.
Oh, I may have had a big lunch. That might be it. Sorry about that. He pats his stomach with both hands, and it's at that point, Felix, that you pick up there is an elephantine quality to this man. He is bulkier than he was when you first arrived. Let me get the door for you. Maybe there's not enough fresh air in here. Sometimes it can be like that on the Hudson. You start breathing in the air, it starts making you go doolally.
No, don't you dismiss me. You're doing it. I can see that you're doing it, and I'm asking you why. I'm asking you how.
I don't think your friend is quite right there, Mr... did you say Schneider?
Yes. Perhaps opening the door is not a bad idea, huh? Maybe it's about time for us to start to make our way back. We have things to arrange after all, and I look worried at you, Madeline.
No,
I've always been a large boy. I was when I was born. They said that they had to practically take a saw to my mother to get me out.
You're not a large boy, you're a large liar.
His cheery exterior drops. Now, there's many things I've been called in my life, and a liar is one of them, but not in my own office. I'd ask you kindly to take that back, young lady.
I'll take it back. Sure, I'll take it back, as soon as you give me what your dealings are with Jackson Elias.
He is still leaning across the desk now, and it's impossible to see whether he has inadvertently sat down. It is as if he is spilling over the desk towards you. Jackson Elias. His eyes widen slightly for the first time since this conversation began, so finally you can see the whites of them again. Oh, there's a name. Oh, aye, Jackson Elias. He visited. My condolences. I read the newspaper. I had no idea he was a mass murderer. But you do business with who puts money in your hand. That's my policy. I don't judge. If I judged the people I did business with, miss, I wouldn't get a lot of work done. He intended to visit the Juju house. Talk with the manager, Mr. Inquani. Oh, now there's a rat of a man. Silas Inquani. Don't go anywhere near him. He'll change you. He's not blinking, but he is still growing. He'll change you. You cross him, he'll change your life. And not for the better. Oh, the first time I saw him, he gave me the creep something horrid. Got right under my skin.
I think I'm going to stumble out of my chair and just try to create as much distance as I can in this insanely small room that he's continuing to expand into.
I told Elias the same thing. I said don't go dealing with that man. And now it looks like you're buying things off him. That's how it all starts. Why are you backing away from me? You know you can't get out. I locked the door. With a key.
Oh, but surely it's everything is all right now. We'll come back when we have everything sorted out with the items that we're sending to Germany.
No, you really should not have mentioned Silas Inquani when you came in here. As soon as you mentioned him, I'd say that sealed it for you. It's not my fault, you understand. And now he is spilling across the desk. There is no way, shape, or form around it. This man has become a blob. There is a face upon it. There is still a skull perched upon it, but it is one ball on top of another vague ball shape. His limbs have disappeared into the mass, and that mass is just expanding. His clothes tear, and he starts letting out a oh noise. If there's a key on him somewhere, you don't know where it is. It might be in one of the pockets on his rapidly tearing clothing. Can I ask a sanity roll from both of you, please?
I roll a 56 under a 70.
I hit a success as well, 38 under 65.
Unfortunately, you both still need to make a 1d4 plus 1 sanity loss, because this is utterly unnatural, what you are seeing right now. And Felix, this is to you reminiscent of the horrors, in a way, what you witnessed in Peru and how close to the edge you became then. The mass of flesh that you witnessed in the pyramid when you looked down through the crack in its peak. There is something corpulent, something grub-like about this man. As if at any moment, once that face disappears into the mass, you are going to be looking at some kind of all-consuming maggot.
I lose 5 sanity.
Me too, I rolled max as well.
Now, I'm not going to dictate your action, but having lost the maximum possible sanity for both of you there, your survival is going to be the key thing here. I wasn't imagining either of you were going to fight back, but I would certainly suggest that loss of sanity would trigger an escape.
Yeah.
Yes.
Or an attempt.
The door is locked. Can I think clearly enough to just try to go for the key that's presumably on him then?
There may well be a key in his pocket, but that will mean engaging with this cursed Arthur Emerson. So it's your choice. I would suggest that doing so is probably against your interest, and you're more likely to either throw yourself through the window, which has a blind, of course, or trying to hammer down the door. It is an office with a wooden door. This is not a temporary building, therefore the door is affixed in a hinge. In the traditional way, you're going to have to succeed on a hard strength roll to budge it. But of course there is always the promise of plate glass if you'd rather just jump through that. No harm will befall you, I'm sure.
I'm sure nothing poorly could come from that. Just to clarify, did we climb stairs? Did we ascend to get to this office, or is this a ground floor office?
You are on... Make a luck roll.
I failed. It's an 85 over my current 12 luck.
You are a floor up from the ground, so second floor American style.
Okay.
I'll rush for the door then. I'll rush for the door to try to break it open then.
Okay, to make it budge from its hinge, you're going to need to succeed on a hard strength roll, Felix. To make it burst open, you're going to need an extreme. So this is essentially a accumulation of successes. You can essentially break it off one hinge and then try hitting it to break it off another with another hard strength roll. Madeline may be able to assist here.
Yep, that's the question. If we're both hitting this door simultaneously, as she's screaming...
Okay, so first things first, let's see your regular strength roll, Maciej, because you are being assisted by Madeline.
That's an 84.
What is your strength?
It's 60. Can I re-roll that?
Nah, you can if you spend a luck, or you can spend the requisite luck to bump it all the way down to 60.
No, I'll try to re-roll. I mean, come on, it's 60. I can do this. That's a 07.
That is a remarkable success. I think that is even an extreme success.
It would be, yeah, under 12.
It hurts. It hurts to ram your body against this solid wooden door, but it's the only thing you can think of. You do not want to risk impaling yourself on shards of glass and falling 10, 15 feet to the ground. So you battering ram the door with your body. You feel a rib pop and your arm may be dislocated because you collide with it at such force, and Madeline, poor Madeline, only just having recovered from losing the use of her legs, is there with you, battering the door too, and it bursts open. Both of you onto the landing, nearly going over the balustrade to the docks below. This is an exterior staircase. You cling on, and now you can run. But what I would like both of you to do is make a con roll. This is to see whether you took any damage from smashing your bodies into the door.
93 over 50. Give me my damage.
That is 100.
Would you like to spend luck on that, because you've already got a critical failure?
Yes, let's do that. I'll spend 1 luck then to try to re-roll. Well, that's better. That's 49.
So in that case, Felix, somehow, even though you're fairly certain your arm is dislocated, you can pop it back in. Madeline, not quite so fortunate, I'm afraid. Make a 1d4 roll. That's how much health you lose from using your body as a battering ram.
Oof, okay, so this is going to hurt for 2 points of damage.
Broken ribs, or maybe a broken collarbone. No, it's the ribs. You can feel it. It's already screaming as you run, but nevertheless not screaming quite as loudly as you might if you had the breath in your lungs. And the two of you make a distance. You hot-foot it away from Emerson Imports, quite unsure of what you just witnessed. Apparently Silas and Kwani did this to him, for dealing with him, for maybe trying to cheat him, or who knows. But you'll be able to discuss once you've got your breath back and sufficient miles between you and Emerson Imports. Meanwhile, in the pleasurable study of Erica Carlisle, Erica is laughing at one of your pithy anecdotes. So really, with a gorilla?
Yes, I was very shocked when it happened.
My goodness, you are a breath of fresh air in this dusty house, Shelby Shattuck. I have to say, I am so sorry. This is not the first time she has gestured at her bodyguards for their company. At this point, I don't know what I would do without them.
No, I completely understand. I mean, sad to say, these are sometimes dangerous times, and you have to be careful.
They are. They truly are. Not just in Africa. Far from it. This country, it is going to the dogs, if you ask me. Have you seen all those people still falling off the boats, wanting citizenship, wanting to live this great American experiment? You don't know where they're from, you don't know what their agenda is, and you certainly can't trust them. So you're quite right. Everywhere is dangerous. I would not be seen dead in that part of town.
I nod and keep the smile on my face as I start clamping down on my initial reaction to that very obvious jingoistic comment.
It's not uncommon. You probably hear that same sentiment expressed from Rupert, maybe in slightly kinder fashion, exoticized fashion. He'd probably say, oh, what a wonderful panoply of people exist here now. But yeah, Erica Carlisle doesn't have quite as many, well, manners as Rupert Carruthers, which is quite something. And who knows? People contain multitudes, and it does seem that she is kind and curious in some ways, maybe a little naive or sheltered and put upon. It's difficult to get the full sum of one person from a simple conversation, but she certainly seems charmed by you. So, Shelby, what inspired this? So far, all I've given you is material the gossip rags would pay hand over fist for, and I've given you nothing of science because I don't know anything really of this expedition to classify it as scientific. What's your story?
I mean, that does actually help me. It would seem like it wouldn't, but one of the things I've learned as I've tried to explore this more, let's say, rigorous approach towards writing, is that lack of information still proves the information, right? It's the I don't know this, then we can go and then explore and find out what the answer to that is. But the people who claim they know what's going on, let's go back to our reporter friends. I use the term loosely. They just assume. They just see a gap, they put some facts together, and rather than you finding out the information and saying, I don't know what's going on, they just go, well, I'll just make up what sounds interesting. I'll just put what seems like it makes the most sense and maybe makes the paper the most money. So I have found in my life that if you want to write fiction, just write fiction. Don't dress it up as if it were fact. And so I've grown to really appreciate finding out how the world really works and understanding how things connect. And as I'm saying this to her, internally, I'm realizing that maybe that's actually one of the reasons why I'm so drawn to Jackson Alliance, is because I'm using the words of science, but that's really what I want. I do want to know how the world works. And I understand that this strange and bizarre world that I have come to uncover maybe makes sense from a different perspective, and that Jackson is the first person I've met who has made an attempt to try to quantify and codify this bizarre and horrifying world that I find myself a part of.
She nods along. I think I understand. It isn't my field, if I have one. I suppose money is my field, and you don't really write books about money. But I think I understand, and I appreciate that you're trying to find some virtue, scientific virtue, if you like, from Roger's interests. I am sure that he believed much as you do. You probably have a lot in common in that regard. That he felt like there was some deeper truth to the superstition, the more fabulous angles of reality. Sometimes he would talk of angles as not really existing. He would say that in every corner there's a doorway. If you look at it from just the right angle, you might just pass right through. Just nonsense like that, but it was almost a mathematical reasoning. A mathematical reasoning for something that shouldn't make sense. So he even drew out diagrams to prove it to me. And,
really?
God, well, nothing that isn't locked away now. Because I would look at these things and all I could see was the fanciful mind of someone misled by charlatans. But I am picking up from you, Shelby, that your interest may imply that you don't think everything he believed in was fanciful. Would that be correct?
I believe that it's possible to find the truth if you approach it perhaps a little more rigorously. I think you're very right to be concerned about charlatans and people who use that faith, let's say, to their own benefit. I'm not approaching this from a position of faith. I don't want these things to exist and therefore hope they exist. I rather look at these things, I feel like I've seen and experienced things that I can't explain. I would like to explain them. Whether that leads me to a very natural, mundane scientific explanation or not, I'm keeping my mind open. And then at this point, I will glance and look at her two bodyguards and say, but I get the impression that perhaps this conversation isn't welcome with our current company.
The bodyguards look at you. They know when they're being spoken of. She laughs at that, though. Really, they pick up very little. Not because they're hard of hearing, but because they hear so many conversations they could not possibly digest it all. I wouldn't worry about them. You know, before Roger fell in with that East African woman, and all the rumours of debaucheries and worse circulated because of what he was getting up to with her, there was a splendid naivete about his curiosities. As if anything left undiscovered must be a wonder. And small-brained as my brother was, he failed to recognize that sometimes mysteries lead to nightmares. Sometimes things in the shadows are supposed to remain in the shadows. There's a reason we don't know them. There's a reason we're not taught them. And there's a reason they're secreted in the wilds of Kenya or wherever else. Because people like us aren't supposed to dabble in horror like that.
But if there were people of sufficient fiber who could make sure that others would never have to experience that horror ever again.
Are you a proponent of the great man of history theory, Shelby?
I believe that sometimes being in the right place in the right time can be all it takes to change the tide, yes.
Well, in that regard, you look at your Theodore Roosevelts, and I would agree. You put a man like that in a situation like Roger found himself, and you'd probably come out clean, brighter, carrying armfuls of gold, and able to say, I conquered the wild. But that is a 1% of a 1%. The vast majority of individuals in the world are thoroughly unprepared for what goes on outside their door, let alone on another continent.
I agree.
I speak of people pouring off of boats into Manhattan. I've never been there to watch them. I've never spoken to one. I've certainly never shaken one's hand or entered into a business deal. But I know that fear because I have self-preservation. I'm the last one left. I always knew I would be.
How did you know?
Well, I was never going to predecease my parents. They died in an accident. An explosive accident. And Roger, he just wasn't cut out for this world. For Roger, the most important thing was approval. The approval of his peers after our parents died. And his retainers, and, I suppose, relatives. Me. But as soon as I started showing that I hadn't neglected my studies, that just gave him permission to slip back into his wastrel ways. As soon as I showed a flare of competency, I think there was some part of him, a fraction of his spirit, if you want to be a little enchanted about it, that said, you have permission now. You can hurry to the finish line, because Erica will pick up the pieces. I think there's a lot of people like that. Drunks or dope fiends, gamblers, pick your vice. They will maintain a straight line. They can wear a mask of perfect, statuesque normality until they feel they have permission to drop it. At which point they cannot wait to, well, let's call it what it is, kill themselves. Well, they don't see it like that. They see it as having a good time, but they know on some level that what they're doing is terminal. I don't intend for that to happen to me.
I would be shocked if it did. It's very clear that you are a woman of singular mind, and your accomplishments are extremely impressive.
I appreciate you saying so, Shelby. Your friend appears to have got lost in our library.
It happens. He's aficionado of the word. But that actually, I think, brings me to my core interest, shall we say, in that if your brother, or if anyone, I should say, in his position had that kind of minds, that kind of will, and had the right knowledge in their hands, maybe we can defeat that self-destructive instinct. Maybe we can change the world in a way that those who are perhaps not as, or softer than you or even I, don't have to see only oblivion as their end result. So I would never presume to consider myself to be a great man, but I would love to be the person who puts the right information into that great man's hands.
Oh, God, you're not a Mormon, are you?
No. Again, I don't come from this position of faith. Science is certainly my starting point. But ultimately, I am a writer. I am a man of the written word. I am one who studies literature. And I know how important the right word to the right person can be. Our history is littered with the right person getting the right advice, the right person getting the right suggestion, the right person getting the right support, and being able to do wonderful things with that knowledge, with those words, with that information.
She nods at that, finishes her stiff drink, lets out a sigh, and stands from her seat. I think that concludes our interview, Mr. Shattuck.
I stand up as well. It has been a wonderful afternoon. I've very much appreciated your time, and I've been delightful.
Well, let's wander through the house before you start saying your goodbyes and grabbing your coat. We need to find Mr. Carruthers, don't we?
Yes. That's probably for the best.
People often tell me I should take a cat or a dog. I don't want some English dandy.
You'll find that Rupert is much harder to feed.
She puts her arm out for you to take, which is obviously the reverse of gender roles typically. So you are being led.
I find the reversal amusing, and I go ahead and take her arm.
At least 15 paces behind, misters, she gestures at the bodyguards. Myself and Mr. Shattuck are having a moment. And she shows you around the house at that. And it's trivial stuff. It's pleasantries now. She isn't concentrating on talk of Roger unless it is this piece of art was purchased by him, utterly worthless now, you understand. This was my parents' grandest investment. There's Mr. Carruthers. And Rupert is sat at a table reading. He has a stack of books next to him. I do hope you're intending on returning them to the shelves where you found them, Mr. Carruthers. Yes. Terribly sorry. I think time must have run away from me.
I did warn our hostess about your propensity getting lost in the written word.
Oh, I love it. I absolutely love it, almost as much as the spoken one. Words, you can't beat them, can you? No. Well, I think it's time for you to leave, Mr. Carruthers. Oh, no, don't worry, you don't need to tell me twice. Good. And don't worry about returning the books to their original position. I will have Simpkins do that. Mr. Shattuck, Shelby.
Yes.
And Simpkins, your presence has been delightful. As I say, a breath of fresh air. I neglected to press on your initial question. When you first started talking with me, you seemed to imply that members of the expedition may not be dead. And I put that down to ignorance on your part.
Mm-hmm.
And all but forgot that you asked. Why did you ask?
Well, as we've discussed earlier, I do not take what people tell me to always be what's actually going on. Not even that they're lying, simply that they may not have all the information. And you yourself mentioned that you were simply told these people were dead.
Her face pinches and she nods at that. I'm not in the habit of hiring private investigators, Mr. Shattuck, and you hardly seem the type. So this is not something that comes with reward. However, vain, stupid hope that this is, but I do, as I say, love my brother, pea-brained as he may have been. If you find something that implies that any of them are still alive,
Mm-hmm.
I would consider it a gift. A generous gift, if you presented that to me. But I don't want to hear rumours. I don't want to hear that you've been in contact with magicians and psychics. I don't want to hear that you saw someone who could have vaguely been Dr. Houston or something like that on a steamer out of Mississippi.
You want proof?
I would only want you to contact me regarding this if you have verifiable fact.
I would not waste your time otherwise.
But you will inform me.
Of course. And if there's any information you might have that would help me on this, again, you may think it to be nothing or even contradictory, but as I hopefully have shown, I do try to discern through it like a prospector. It looks like mud, but if you sift long and hard enough, eventually you can find the gold within it. That is what I do with the information.
I was planning on selling these or getting them valued, but she goes to the bookcase and frowns, looks at Rupert. You found my safe. Oh yeah, sorry about that. Well, you didn't open it, at least. She pushes a button in a gap between the books, and the bookcase slides across several feet to reveal a safe behind. Please be a gentleman and turn the other way, Mr. Shattuck, and you, Mr. Carruthers. You hear her working the dial. Are you going to attempt to sneak a look?
I am not.
Well, the bodyguards have not turned away. They are keeping their eyes fixed on you, so if you did a pantomime peering round the corner, it will be picked up. The safe door opens, she reaches in, she pulls out 4 books, places them on the table, closes the safe again, puts the bookcase back in place. Have them. Take them. If there's any kind of clue as to what happened to my brother and his expedition, and indeed if any of them are still alive, I imagine you'll find it in there. And frankly, ever since they've been in the house, the whole place has felt off.
That makes sense. You are uncomfortable around things that are full of potentially scurrilous lies. I can understand that.
Do not sell these.
No.
Mr. Shattuck, I do not want to find in the papers that these books have ended up at auction and you've claimed yourself to be owner, because the people in this room, Mr. Carruthers accepted, will bear witness to the fact that these were given to you on loan.
Absolutely. I will bring them back whenever you request them.
Good. Take them away from here. And, maybe I'll be in touch. If you are of a mind. So maybe enjoy a drink or something like that.
I would love to enjoy your company again.
She stiffly shakes you by the hand.
I return it.
And Simpkins takes you and Rupert away from the house. You are laden down with 4 books. You find yourself on the doorstep. The front door's closed behind you. Well, I think that went very well. I think you've made yourself a Mrs. Shattuck.
Slap him on the arm. What were you doing? You're trying to open the safe?
Those books are slipping. They're antiques, I think. You don't want to go slapping me. Wait until we're back in Harlem. Do you want me to carry a couple of them?
Give him the heaviest book.
What's this called? Oh, yeah. How do you pronounce this?
Don't pronounce it here.
How do you pronounce this? If something begins with a P, P-N-A-K-O-T-I-C. Narcotic? Panacotic? Panas... I don't know. Anyway, let's get these back to Harlem, shall we? Oh, look, the chauffeur's been waiting for us all this time. I hope we didn't keep him too long. I'll tell you, I found something quite interesting in that library. A tremendous collection of Ralph Waldo Emerson, the earlier works of George Washington Cable, and Bulwer Lytton.
Mm-hmm.
You know Bulwer Lytton? Oh, well, I doubted it. But yes, really quite a collection. Very diverse fiction, obviously, and a hugely compiled book of the works of Poe. Frankly unworkable. I was looking through them for clues, you understand.
Of course.
Didn't find a bloody thing, except for the safe, obviously. Well, not even that. I found a button, and I thought I won't press it in case there's an alarm. He climbs into the car with you.
Why would you put in an alarm that only works if the thief pushes the button?
To double bluff the thief.
You don't even need a single bluff.
Well... And the argument goes on as you head back to the city. Madeline, Felix, do we want for you to reconvene with Shelby before going on? So you can share what you've learned and allay your fears for a while. Maybe not allay them, but drink away your fears for a little bit?
Yeah, I think coming together would probably be a good call.
Mm-hmm.
All right, a new plan is required. By the time you reassemble at Madeline's flat, it is late afternoon. It has been a long day, and you've been all over the city and beyond. Arturo is already within, smoking away, reading a book. Rupert gives him a hug when he arrives and dumps 2 of the books on Madeline's bed. And he then starts rooting around for food. And Shelby... You are left standing there holding your 2 books when Madeline and Felix arrive, both of them looking slightly worse for wear. Madeline seems to be bearing some kind of injury based on the expression on her face. Felix just looks a little shattered.
I need a drink.
I drop the books and rush over to them. What happened? What did he do to you?
It's something strong. I said I'll stumble over to the table to sit down.
Yeah, sorry, Rupert, get some strong drinks.
Well, down the store?
Yeah, from wherever, I don't care.
I don't know, you know...
Mug somebody if you have to.
You know they don't like drinking very much. Well, you know what? I'm sure I'll find something. Come on, Arturo, let's find a bottle of hooch or something.
Which they're going to find nothing in Madeline's apartment at all whatsoever, alcohol-wise. Oh, you know what? She knew they were coming. She would have bought booze. Never mind. There's booze there for him.
Moonshine, wonderful.
Yep, it's all unopened, but yep.
He pours out some glasses for you.
I'll quickly down one. So, I don't know what you've gone through, but we went to the Juju house and, well, Silas and Kwame, he's unpleasant, unnerving, I guess is the word. Not quite what you would expect, but more importantly, Emerson Imports, the man running that place, he's not human. He's...
What?
He's been changed. As I wince as I'm trying to, lift up my shoulders. Arturo, can you find me ice, please? There should be
Do you need a hospital? Or a doctor?
No, I think it's just a broken rib. He's
just a broken rib?
and
What did he do?
Arturo dashes off to the ice house at the end of the block.
thank you. There's no polite way to describe it, but based on what he said that Silas changed him, and that if you cross Silas, he has the ability to change you, and he became this amorphous blob of he started melting. He actually started I'm gonna just lean up against the wall. He started melting in front of us. He started expanding and pooling, and it was everything we could to knock down the door to get out. He locked us in the room with him.
Yeah, I thought he was going to absorb us or something like that. We're lucky to be alive, honestly.
Well, yes. Did you bring your gun?
I had my weapon, but you should have seen him. A Luger wouldn't have done much on that.
No, that's fine. I shouldn't second guess you. I'm sorry. I remember how Peru was and how hard sometimes it could be to think clearly. So I'm not judging you. I'm worried. I'm worried about both of you.
Well, at least we know more now. We know a little bit about what these people are doing. And if what Arthur Emerson was saying was true, well then Silas is definitely someone that we need to do something about, and it's definitely connected with what's happened to Jackson.
Okay.
You know, I was rather hoping that all of the strangeness was going to be confined to the wonderful nation of Peru.
I don't think we're going to be that lucky.
No.
Arturo comes back with a bucket of ice.
Oh, thank you. I'm going to hobble to the little small sofa that I have that has mismatched pillows. I'm going to empty out the stuffing from one, shove this ice into the thin case, and then literally just hike up my dress and shove this on my rib.
I will look away.
And there's that over-familiar comfort where there's absolutely nothing sexually happening, but she's so comfortable with this collection of people that it's just not even on her mind, especially with a broken rib.
Well, how are we going to get back into this juju house without crossing Mr. Nkwani? For my part, I quite like my svelte frame. I don't really want to be expanded into a sea cow.
Well, Nkwame, he goes to meetings at Fat Mabel's, was it, Madeline?
I'm wincing and thinking, yes, I think that's what it's called.
So if he's away for that, perhaps that will give us more time than the lunch hour.
Well, we may have a name we could look into in that kind of location, or maybe a similar location. Apparently, Roger Carlisle was speaking with an East African woman named Ninchenka Bonai.
Interesting.
If Silas is unnatural, say, this woman seems to have the word subverted was used, but certainly she seemed to know more about this kind of world than anybody else involved with the expedition. So there may be a connection between the two.
Okay.
Oh, and I got some books.
Have some reading to do then.
Yes, I wouldn't necessarily recommend that. Rupert has started pouring through the books.
Oh?
Well, I've only really read the headlines, you could say. We have here the I'm going for narcotic, but with a P. Okay?
Okay.
The narcotic manuscripts. They're pretty grim. The Sélection de livres divins. It's French. Amongst the Stones and Life as a God. Well, just looking at this Life as a God, the author, obviously these aren't these aren't books that you're going to find in an everyday publishing house. These seem to have been loose leaf bound. But I can see the name, a repeated name in it. He is glancing page to page. A Montgomery Crompton. It seems to be more of a diary than anything else. This is the diary of a madman. This is something quite unwholesome. From what it looks like, this Montgomery Crompton believed he was the Black Pharaoh of Darkness. He refers to a bent pyramid. We've had enough pyramids fill our lives, I'm sure.
Oh, yes.
And there's a word in here that I'm sure I remember from when we were in Peru with, the fellow who, and he gestures with his fingers as a revolver against his forehead and makes a pop motion. I remember he said this, and I wouldn't have been able to spell it if you ask me, but this Montgomery Crompton has Nyarlathotep. Seems to think that he is this Nyarlathotep.
Huh.
Wow.
Nice fellow. And that is where we shall end our session.
You have listened to an episode of Red Moon Roleplaying, where we play Masks of Nyarlathotep for Chaosium's Call of Cthulhu 7th edition. Joining us as our keeper is none other than our dear friend Matthew Dawkins, and we were also joined by Bridgett Jeffries and Eddy Webb. The music was made by Ager Sonus and Halgrath, and we've also used Cryochamber's Lovecraftian compilation albums. All of this with the permission of Cryochamber. Check out their website at cryochamber.bandcamp.com or their YouTube channel for some moody dark ambient for your gaming table. We would like to give massive thanks to our champions of the Red Moon: Martin Heuschober, Simon Cooper, Julia, Camilla, Bob Lange, Cameron, Graham Barey, Doug Thomson, Lily, Maciej, Black Templar, Dennis Sadecki, and Leonhardt for their generous support. We would of course also like to thank all of our other patrons. Without your support, this show would not be possible. If you want to support our work, please check us out on Patreon. You can get access to bonus campaigns for Cult of the Lost, Call of Cthulhu, Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay, and Warhammer 40k Imperium Maledictum there. And you can also get early and raw access to all of our recordings, and hear your name read on the show as a champion of the Red Moon, as well as even play some Cult with us. Most importantly, that support is what keeps the show going, so do check us out there. Thank you again for listening, and remember, I am the last. I will tell the audient void.